ABS. Always be scootin'. Hello my friends, and welcome to Tom's Tinkering and Adventures. Today we're going to be working on this Honda Elite 80 scooter. And this thing has kind of got a little bit of history with me. It's a couple of my friends, one of my friends purchased it, had it for a little while, gave it to another friend of mine, and that friend then handed it on to me. And it's been in the little friend circle for, oh geez, I don't know, maybe 10 years or so. But he said he was having some trouble, thought it was the belt, or maybe he said he thought it was the clutch and he changed the belt. Either way, supposedly this thing runs, but it does have some problem moving forward. So we're gonna see if we can get her started first. And I was gonna use the little jumper pack here. Well, actually maybe we can, but I have a battery, one that I removed from my Husqvarna that still holds a charge. It's not the best battery. Tell you what, we'll just swap that battery in. We'll come right back because this thing is kind of a pain. I was trying to do this a little bit before the video and these are a little too big to fit in here. We'll swap batteries, we'll be right back. Batteries in, let's see what we got here. All right, horn works. Cranking. Oh, hey, you gotta turn it on to run. Makes a big difference. Okay, so that was easy enough. We got it started. The back wheel is really spinning up pretty quickly here. Yeah, something I don't think is right with that clutch because it's just killing the engine. That wheel shouldn't be spinning like that. But it looks like we have a tail light, we have a headlight, we got the horn. All right, I'm probably gonna take it up and down the driveway. Well, maybe let's see if I can take you all with me. We can ride a scooter with one hand. Let's check to make sure we have no loose bolts, and we'll do a little test run on it to see how she rides. Okay, I'm just gonna accelerate us into the garage here. Now that the wheel's on the ground, it's got kind of a clattery knocking sound in the back there, and when I accelerate, it's making squeaking. I don't know how well you can hear that. And it's like really vibraty feeling. It's definitely not right. So we'll get her on the stand and we'll pull the that belt cover off and take a look at it and see if we can find anything obviously incorrect. The drive belt and the clutch cover comes off pretty easy. All the bolts are fairly obvious. There's only one that's kind of tricky, and that's this engine cover piece here. Goes straight in there. All the rest are really pretty obvious. Now, when I took this thing off, this is the first thing that stands out to me, and I don't know if that's correct or not. I don't know how well you can see that, but that bolt there is barely holding on. So I'm not sure if that's correct, like I said, or not. I do have the printout of a manual here, so we're going to go through this whole thing and check it out. So it says I should be able to remove the drive belt by squeezing this clutch apart enough. We'll see if I can get that off, and then we'll start removing that. I'll check the clutch here. All right. No, this is saying that I have to have some kind of a special tool to remove this, but let's get this belt off and we'll remove this rear. I I don't want to say the wrong nomenclature. Let's go back here. This doesn't even say what the nomenclature is, because I know one's a clutch and one's a variator, something like that. So, or a driven pulley. Yeah, drive pulley, driven pulley. So actually we'll go to that first. Let's see what we got here. It says it's on page 8.8. Okay, so I'm supposed to use a universal holder and then remove that nut off of there. Well, I used my trusty impact wrench here to remove this, and hopefully, let's get on here and see how well you can see this here. There's some, looks like stripped out threads here. I don't know how good this nut is. I'm going to take a look and see if I have anything in my parts stash, but everything I'm seeing here does not show a washer on this. Unfortunately, I don't really have the greatest parts breakdown, just that, but I'm going to open up the internet and see if I can find some parts breakdown online. But this, once again, is not showing a washer, just the nut. This clutch appears to be okay. Everything seems to work smoothly on this. But if that wasn't on there correctly, that could definitely be a problem. So I'm going to take a look at that online, see if we can figure that out, and then while we're at it, we'll see if we can't get this front driven pulley off of here and see if we can find any issues with that as well. Alright, I'm on one of my sites that I like to use to order OEM parts, and this is definitely not showing a washer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back out there. I'm going to try to get a different nut thread on there. If that doesn't work, then I'm going to run a die over that thing from a tap and die set to clean up the threads, and we'll go from there. Alright, I cleaned the threads up here, and I also cleaned the threads up on the nut. And as you can see, now we go all the way flush. So that's one problem, hopefully solved. Everything here looks okay on my visual inspection, so now we're going to remove this front one and take a look at this, and I think I may be able to just zip that off with my impact wrench. Okay, this thing came off pretty easily with the impact. So the nut, washer, what are they calling this one here? The drive face. And then this is the movable drive face. And we'll take that apart and take a look inside of there. Now, one thing I noticed taking this off is, according to our manual, there's supposed to be a washer inside of there between here and there. This washer that was on the rear drive pulley fits perfectly in there. So I'm thinking that that belongs in there. We'll put that in when we put it back together. We'll take a look in here. This is where your rollers and your ramp is. I think that my buddy told me he had this apart as well. And who knows, maybe when he took it all apart, he lost track of where those washers and stuff went. That's a little bit on the dry side. We'll have to look and see if that's supposed to be lubricated or not. All right. Our rollers are kind of misplaced in there a little bit, but other than that, everything looks okay. Let's see. And these are supposed to be 17.4. Well, that's for the check each weight roller for wear damage, 17.4 millimeters, so we can measure these, clean them up. And then it says we're supposed to put grease to the inside evenly. So we'll clean everything up. We'll grease this up. It looks like there's grease in this area, but not in this area. Let me get that all cleaned up and we'll come back. I got it all cleaned up. I used a little bit of old gasoline, cleaned it all out of there. Now, the manual asks for a specified type of a grease, and I just don't have that. But, you know, we're going to put this thing together. I'm sure someone's going to get upset at me, but we're going to use some Maximum waterproof grease here. We're going to just put a little bit in each one of these ramp faces here. And then we'll put the rollers in there. It says I'm supposed to use about an ounce of grease. So I don't know how I'm supposed to measure that, but we'll get it in there. We'll put that all together. Okay, she's all back in there. Got the rollers in. Drop this, what do they call this thing here? The ramp plate guide in there. And then we'll put this cover on the back. There is a torque value for these little bolts. This is 2.9 foot-pounds, so make sure you're doing that right here. And right here in this step, it specifically shows that washer. So, like I said, I believe it has to be that washer there that was on that rear driven pulley. So we'll put that on. Of course, we're going to torque it properly, right? And we'll get back to putting the belt and the rear driven pulley on. I guess I should have showed how I put the belt on here, but all I did is I slipped it over the front drive pulley and then squeezed the rear. You can just squeeze that open, put the belt around that, and then push this over onto the shaft. Now we will torque this one down here and put the cover on and see if that solves our problem. I got 80 cc's of Pure Fury strapped between my legs here. Let's see how she feels now. It's not making any noises, and it's not jumping around. I'd say it feels very normal. Our idle is a little bit high, but that might just be because the choke is on, or I might have turned the idle down. I think we've got her. I think we've solved the problem. Yeah, it's definitely better. All right, now she seems to be driving pretty good. I just took it up and down the street a little bit. Seems to be working just fine. When my buddy dropped it off, I was a little disappointed in the condition of it. But then, out of the back of his vehicle, he gave me all that stuff. So, I'm gonna spend a couple minutes. We'll hose it off, give it a real quick scrub, clean off the panels. We'll put it together and see what she looks like all in one piece. Well, there she is in all her glory in one piece. It looks like everything is here and everything appears to work. The only thing that doesn't work on this scooter is the high beam. My buddy told me that this model has a sealed beam headlight, which is really expensive. And he actually cut out the bulb from it and put in a little bulb. Pretty common. Actually, I did the same thing on that Trail 90 125 project there. So I could dig that out, dig out the bulb that he put in there and see if I could fix the high beam. I think the high beam indicator works. Turn signals work, everything else seems to work. It doesn't clean up too bad. I can't believe it has rear foot pegs. I ride 2 up on a 80. But I did get it up to about 30 miles an hour on the road, and that was in less than about a quarter of a block. So I don't know, this thing might go 35 or 40. But supposedly very good scooters. These Elite 80s, supposed to be very reliable, fair amount of power from the engine, and very good MPGs. And also you have a frunk on these. I didn't show you that. Let me grab the key. Show you the frunk here before we call her a day. The front trunk. There you go. enough room to put a little bit of something. And I like this, you got a place to put a beer. Not that I would advocate putting a beer in there, but you know, maybe after you get to where you're going, it's a good place to hold your beer. Okay, that was a lot of fun. We got a scooter going for the grand price of $0. I love it. All right. If you're digging my content, please give me a thumbs up. If you would, please leave a comment down below. And if you're not already a subscriber, why don't you consider doing so? Thank you very much for watching. Get out there and find your adventure. Adios.